Hello and welcome to Day 3 of E3 2018 and our continuing coverage here at Viewport. I'm Albert Corsten, and of course I'm joined here by the rest of the Viewport team, Tristan Jung.
Bananas!
And Alex Nestor.
Hey!
So as we've been doing all week, we're providing coverage on all the press conferences during the event, and we'll be uploading a video with our opinions each day, which is what you're currently listening to. Today we had the marathon of conferences with Square Enix followed by Ubisoft, and then in the afternoon we had Sony. There was also the PC gaming show, but there wasn't too many huge headlines coming out of that one, so we won't be covering that in this episode because there's too much to talk about if we were. But we'll be starting it with Square Enix.
Whoa. Yeah, that's about as what I feel after seeing this conference.
Alright, so the first thing we're talking about today from the Square Enix conference is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We got a glimpse of it during the Xbox press conference as well yesterday, but we were going to hold back on it because we thought that it was going to come out during Square Enix's, and it did, and it had an actual gameplay trailer of kind of going through the jungle, murdering a lot of people. I don't know, what did you guys think of sort of the human death machine that is Lara Croft now?
So I've played the first two games, and in the first game, Lara, cries when she's trying to skin a goat, right? She's, scared of killing people, and now she's literally the Terminator. In the gameplay video, what does she do? I think she shoots someone with an arrow with the rope attached, and then she jumps off a tree and hangs them, right?
Oh, yeah, she did that.
She goes all out. She burns people with Molotov cocktails and blows people up. This person has no soul at this point. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it looks like a lot of fun. There seems to be graphical upgrades, gameplay upgrades. Everything looks to be a lot more smoother. And there's tombs, so...
But from the first game, she said, "I hate tombs." So maybe it's a bad thing for her.
I mean, in the first game, she couldn't kill anyone without crying.
Yeah, and maybe it's a coping mechanism. She hates tombs, so now she figured out if she just murders people, she'll be better.
Yeah.
Were there underwater environments in the second one, Tristan?
Not that I remember. The first two games were heavily reliant on, vertical...
It's climbing and stuff?
I think also getting impaled by random objects. That was a big thing in the previous two games.
I think there will be impaling situations in this as well. There seems to be rivers. Rivers are making a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see that happen again.
Rivers are making a comeback. It was so 1900s, but rivers are making a comeback. Alright, we'll move on to that, to a sort of a mini little announcement, but we had some Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood news. There was the Under the Moonlight patch that was announced. But the cooler thing was they're doing a Monster Hunter World crossover event with a Rathalos, I don't know if it's a raid, they didn't really go into too much detail, and then a Palico, and it's coming out sometime this summer.
Sweet. Cool. Good. Cool. Two good games. Might as well combine them. Very successful titles, so... It only makes sense that Final Fantasy would want to get in on some of that Monster Hunter popularity that's hit everywhere nowadays. So, yeah. I want to get my Palico mini pet or whatever it's going to end up being, so...
You gonna resub for that?
Hell yeah. I want a Palico.
Oh, yeah.
Give it to me.
Wait, I thought you were already resubbed.
Hey, don't question me. let me live in peace as a cat girl.
As long as it's not like the Yokai Watch event, which killed my soul, I'm okay with this.
Endless grind of fates to get the Yokai Watch, but I expect the same thing. We're gonna be grinding forever to get these Palicos in every color of the rainbow, but I'll do it, happily.
He's already subbed, he's ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Take my money, Yoshi P.
Alright, and moving off from that announcement, we finally got a glimpse, a super surprise. No one knew this was coming. I mean, we knew it to the extent that there were rumors that Platinum Games was developing new IP, but we finally got our glimpse at Babylon's Fall. All right, so we kind of got about 45-second little overview of the world and sort of the history of it. So there's this object called the Oversoul that was discovered, and it went into sort of this Age of Dawn. I assume it's some sort of golden age, and then went into, they found some prophecies, an apocalypse ensued with riots and a world war, and then a new goddess was born, and there was divine punishment, of all things. And then sort of moving on to the second half of the history part, it was the birth of a new world, scholars of Gaia, age of harmony, spread of a soul plague, and then the most recent event was rebirth. So, and the sort of small descriptor of that was led by the nomads, humanity strikes back against Gaia. So, Gaia is apparently obviously some sort of all-knowing god or goddess of some sort in this world. What do you guys think is going on, and what do you think of the footage we saw of those two knights battling each other?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one knight on the ground kind of had this weird like red tendrils, and he kind of grasps the enemy blue knight and just kind of slashes him in an anime fashion. There's really nothing to go off of on this trailer, but I'm definitely interested to see what Platinum Games is doing and just kind of brainstorming what this title might actually end up even being.
Yeah, same here. I love it when studios who are kind of like top of their class try something new. Just because it might mean they're maybe tackling a new genre, or trying something completely different. So, from the trailer, obviously it's really hard to tell what's going on. It's, to be honest, not my cup of tea, like the setting that they're going for. I usually don't like these type of fantasy yet. Is it fantasy?
Like dark fantasy?
Yeah.
I would call it dark fantasy.
Yeah, I don't like those type of settings, but I'm intrigued. And after my little stint with Bayonetta, I'm down to play more Platinum games.
Would you guys want it to be a beat 'em up, or as Alex was saying, if they kind of venture off into something new? I mean, sounds like you guys are open to anything.
You know what I'm kind of thinking is it's going to end up being a beat 'em up, kind of like Anarchy Reigns, another Platinum Games title. I don't know what they could do. I think that's might be what we see, is just kind of this multiplayer beat 'em up. But again, we just don't know at the moment. But I'm intrigued.
I'm thinking it might be like Dark Souls, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, I could get those vibes, and I can understand that, but I don't know. I'm not sure Platinum Games will go that direction, but they're always willing to create kind of, I guess, titles that might not even sell that well. They just want to make something cool.
This game's coming out in 2019 and is coming to both PC and PS4. I hope, just based on Nier Automata, that they release and support a better PC version. I'd love to buy this game on PC. It looks great. I'd love to play it in 60 FPS, but
no Switch. I thought
No
Platinum
Switch.
was bringing stuff to the Switch.
Yeah.
They're bringing Bayo 3, man. That's Alex. Alex's
Mhm.
Bane right there.
Yep. Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3. Never get to play them. Until that fateful day that I get a Switch, that is.
So eventually, there'll be enough to teeter you over the edge.
Switch definitely is doing a lot better than Wii U so far. But I think tomorrow will answer a lot of that question.
Yeah. All right. So the last one, we saw it yesterday. We saw it today twice. But we'll talk about it during the Square Enix segment because it is Kingdom Hearts 3. I know Alex and Tristan have not played the series, so I'll be soloing this one a little, but I'll try to get some opinions.
Can you tell us the entire story so far?
Give us the canon rundown.
You got like 3 hours for me to go through.
Yeah, of course. I'm just gonna hop in my bed for a bit. Let me know when you're done.
Get comfortable. Get comfortable. No, but we saw the new Frozen world. And we saw in the PlayStation conference, we saw the Pirates of the Caribbean worlds confirmed. And just some input from you guys. What do you guys think of the visuals? From the original trailers, the character designs were like, alright, but now we're seeing the actual Disney characters and real life characters that we saw from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and they look pretty good.
It was actually really interesting to me to see the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a very different art style from what they've shown in the other parts of the game. And it's, I guess, pretty cool because it more mirrors the, of course, real world characters that Pirates of the Caribbean is made of. rather than the animated characters. But it also made me think back to, like, they've showed some of Tangled and things like that. Even that art style is a little bit different than, say, Frozen's world.
Or Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely interesting to see the older Pixar franchises in the fact that just the animation quality in those original movies wasn't as good compared to the very latest, like Frozen and Tangled, and how CGI, even in just animated movies, has increased a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get those, I guess, replicating the visual style of those is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Tristan, you got anything?
No, actually, I didn't even want to talk about the game as much. I was more gonna talk about, how I'm kind of actually sick of seeing Kingdom Hearts now. We've seen it so many times.
Yeah, it's been at basically every conference so far.
Yeah, I feel like we've gone from not seeing anything about it to, like, just being overloaded. So,
Agreed. I feel like Square Enix should have only been the one to show it, and they should have showed all of the worlds at once, rather than splitting them up between the two.
yeah, I think I can replay certain parts of the trailer now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hercules, and then he runs up to Hercules, and he's like,
No, it's Herc.
Herc. Is this snowman is this talking snowman your friend?
Maybe there's a secret message if you put them all together and run them back at the same time.
Tristan Jung is going to be in Kingdom Hearts 4, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
He's rehearsing right now.
I am.
But yeah, I think they're showing so much of Kingdom Hearts 3 to distract from the fact that there's nothing of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, what's that game? Tell me more.
I don't think anyone knows
Only Nomura
anymore
knows.
what it is.
It's Nomura's dirty little secret.
Mm-hmm. Nomura's just trying to keep us satiated with this instead. He's trying to prove that he can actually finish a game.
Oh, sad.
Oh, no. Anyways, finishing up some quick Kingdom Hearts 3, we saw a evil/heartless Aqua at the end of each of the trailers. There is a PS4 Pro limited edition console coming out for it. And what else? I've got those pirate ship battles in the Pirates of the Caribbean world, which was really interesting to see after we saw Skull and Bones after Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty crazy and frantic what they were doing. It looked kind of cool.
Yep, we'll have to see where that goes. And then just super quick news, they're doing a 1.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.8 all-in-one super combo remix version. Alright, and that kind of wrapped it up for the big things that we wanted to talk about for, Square. Some quick mentions at the end. There was a Dragon Quest XI Western release date.
There we go.
Finally, for all of you Dragon Quest fans out there. And then we got an interesting... Tristan and I were very confused when we saw it. It's for The Quiet Man. And at first we got baited because we saw New York and we thought it was going to be the Avengers game that Crystal Dynamics has been working on. But then it wasn't.
And then things got real weird after that.
Yeah, like they're in a dark alleyway and it's fully live action, and then it switches to the gameplay. And Tristan read an article about can you go into what the actual visual style is?
So Square Enix in their press release said The Quiet Man takes players beyond sound and words to deliver an immersive story-driven cinematic action experience which players can complete in one setting, seamlessly blending high-production live action, realistic CG, and pulse-pounding action gameplay. First of all, if any one of us wrote that sentence in one of our articles, I would give them a lot of for. That is one sentence. So
that's a meaty sentence, all right.
So shame on you. But
lathered in sugar.
I think this means that it's going to be quite a short, like, end-to-end gameplay, like maybe an hour or two max. There's probably going to be a lot of different endings that you can go through.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. I'm still not really sold. The trailer was really weird. That's all.
Yeah, the trailer didn't describe any of what you said in the actual article, so I don't know why they didn't do that, but supposing that their press conference was so short. We will move on to Ubisoft now.
Are we going to rate Square Enix?
Oh, we gotta rate.
I've been waiting all day.
Just has been waiting. All right, letter grades. We will start with Alex first.
Put me on the spot. I think I'll give Square Enix A solid C. We got more of kind of the same things we've seen in previous conferences. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Kingdom Hearts 3, Stormblood. While it's cool to see content released for that, they just kind of announced the patch that's already out, and then just kind of some crossover content that's going to be out pretty soon. Babylon's Fall, of course, that's pretty cool, but we didn't really get any information beyond that. Localizations are always cool, but they are what they are. Yeah, it just wasn't a very exciting conference, and they didn't have a whole lot to show for it.
All right, Tristan, I'm going to let you go loose now.
I'm going to give it like a D, maybe even D minus. Like
D minuses don't exist in America, by the way.
Okay, then D. Is that the lowest thing before fail?
Yes.
Okay, D. Because here, let's see. How many things have we seen before or have been released already? Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we already knew about. Stormblood patch, that came out weeks ago. Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, oh boy. Not to say it's a bad game, but I'm just saying we saw it already. Dragon Quest already came out. Nier Automata, we know. Octopath, that wasn't a new trailer. Just Cause, we saw that stuff already. Kingdom Hearts, literally the same trailer. There's like nothing new other than Babylon's Fall, which we know nothing about, and The Quiet Man, which is not looking too great. Plus, the pacing was so weird. Like, it just went all over the place. Shadow of the Tomb Raider got like 10 minutes, and then everything else was a minute each. So, a disaster, I would say. Disaster. There you go.
All right, I'm giving mine a solid C minus. I think I agree with everything Tristan just said. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt in that if they were to not share most of their stuff at other press conferences, this would have been pretty good. But I guess they love their publisher, the big publishers, even more, that they decided to give them almost all their stuff to show beforehand. So that detracted away from everything. The only reason that it saved from a D+, and I went to a C-, was because Keith David narrated the entire presentation. And that was amazing.
That says something.
Any
Plus, the narration was good.
Where's Final Fantasy VII?
That's true. I also appreciate that it was only half an hour. I mean, I wish they wouldn't have made it so early for only half an hour. But they almost had nothing to show, as Tristan said, that they didn't show elsewhere. So I'm glad they didn't try to drag it out to be an hour long.
Yeah, that's true. At least it was easy for us. I just kind of sat there the entire time.
All right, we're going to move on now to our favorite multinational, many European /French /other place-speaking publisher, Ubisoft. Let's start out with they went out strong, guys. Or they didn't went out strong. They started off strong. They died. Miyamoto, where did he go? Where did Miyamoto go? No, but they started off strong, showing us right out the gate Beyond Good and Evil 2. We got some new characters. We got Chef Cook, the pig guy. We got the monkey and his lady friend from last year. I don't remember their name, I'm sorry. We got Oma, the acupuncture lady, and Callum, the chief engineer. And we start off with this awesome flyby in space. And then suddenly they're under attack. And who is the perpetrator? No one knows except for us.
Well, no, they know it in the trailer too.
Do they?
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's Jade.
Okay. Well, it's Jade. They know. Okay.
The pig
I don't
knows.
remember. Okay, I don't remember exactly. They know it's Jade. Which is really interesting because this is a prequel. If you didn't know, this is a prequel to the original. So she starts off evil, or I don't know.
Or maybe she's good, and they're evil. You're evil.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the monkey's name is Nox, and the lady's name is Shawnee.
Okay.
Just for completion. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you for that. What do you guys think of what's going on in this game? We haven't seen any. Well, we've seen some gameplay. We see how the city of Sacred City of Ganesha, and it has been confirmed that there will be co-op in this game. So, assuming you're playing Mox and what's the lady's name?
Shawnee.
Shawnee. I assume it'll be those two characters. Are you guys assuming that too?
Yeah, I would. I'm just gonna play Nox. By the way, if we play together,
There's no other choice. Bang bang, mother effer.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna be talking with a British accent the entire time.
Good. And you gotta say, I've got a hot date and I can't do late. Do you guys think there's gonna be space combat in this game?
Almost definitely, I think, from just kind of what we've seen so far. I think that's a given. Kind of a Star Fox style, maybe?
Yeah, I think there was some, there was some, like, inner city spaceship gameplay. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to extend that outside of the city. The ground kind of combat mechanics actually reminded me more of, like Ratchet and Clank, to be honest. I think it's just kind of the environment of the city that they were showing off, but it felt very, platformy, jump around hitting enemies. So I'm not too sure about that one.
Yeah. Other than that, other than the characters and stuff like that, we haven't gotten to see too much more of this game. Ubisoft definitely did more deep dives into the other games later on, but this is still a ways out. We haven't gotten a release window for this game, so obviously telling why we haven't gotten too much details. But speaking of development and release windows, we did get a nice appearance from Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was coming from they normally do what, film and TV or music?
Yeah, they usually do TV and music. I think they've won Emmys already, so they're not small. Okay,
so he came from his little studio Hit Record, and essentially they gave the announcement that they're, I don't want to say crowdsourcing, but anyone who wants to submit artwork or music were the two examples they gave for the game. They'll look over it, they'll work with the creators, and they'll put your stuff in the game. And it came out later that if your stuff makes it in the game, you'll make money from it. I don't know any details on that, but it's not just, hey, we're taking your work for free. It's they will pay you for it.
Loot boxes confirmed? Are we going to be unlocking art loot boxes?
One of them, how they had was, for instance, in the city, there was like your artwork here, and it looked like there would be graffiti on the wall.
Mm.
So they'd put random... That'd be awesome, because if they could just get hundreds of community-created graffiti, then that would obviously free up a lot of their time, in which if they had to do it all on their own, they might only, okay, we'll put in 30 different graffiti things, and that'll be good. We'll just reuse them around the city, whatnot, right? But no, if they can get people to do it for them, every single thing in the game can be unique in terms of just something simple like graffiti on walls or artwork or things like that.
What if it's randomized for each person? You'll never experience the same city twice.
Oh my god.
New Game Plus.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big trend this E3, was New Game Plus.
Yeah, people love that New Game Plus. They just want to be OP.
I'll play that game again.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think about sort of this announcement with Hit Record and the community building of the game?
I think it's a cool idea. This game has always had kind of a cult following to it, so it makes sense to just reach out to them, let them be a part of that game. I think that's a really cool idea. And of course, it makes their developer's life easier.
When I was first looking through it, when they first announced it, I was like, oh my god, they're crowdsourcing their work for free. They're never gonna finish this game at this point. But I looked through the actual website where they put up the requests. So, for example, they have one that says anti-hybrid propaganda. So they're looking for artwork and posters promoting hybrid slavery and segregation created by the oppressive establishment. Maybe that wasn't the best example.
Tristan, why?
But they post them as challenges.
Okay.
And it details what type of work they need. So they need 3 graphic designs and 1 writing. And there's actually a lot of submissions already. It's pretty cool. And I do like the fact that all these creators are getting paid. I think Albert mentioned this when we were just chatting right after the conference, where this kind of allows creators to get their foot in the door and, make some money out of it. So I thought it's a neat idea.
All right. And then there will be more news at the BGE Fest this fall regarding Beyond Good and Evil. So sometime this fall we'll get another scoop. Maybe we'll get a little released window, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say I still really like the art style of the game so far. Very pretty.
Yeah. All right, so the next interesting hit we had was a hit for me this year, but last year was a pretty bad bomb. But that's Skull and Bones. So we started off Skull and Bones, first of all, with a ASMR experience of the man's voice only going in the right ear for the first 2 or 3 minutes. But then we got a little more into the actual... the game devs came out, and they kind of described the game. So the game takes place in the Indian Ocean, obviously with a lot of trade in the Dutch East Indies and that sort of stuff. There are different sort of factors to consider before you go out on every piratey mission. They're called fortunes, so you have to watch out for cataclysms, weather, so they gave up winds. I would assume there's things like waves and thunderstorms and stuff like that. Then there are conflicts, which I would assume is you're entering a hostile area, like the British Navy is fighting another group of pirates and you're going to go right into it. And then, yeah, that's it for the fortunes. So they said the term it's a shared world. I don't know what that means. Other than the fact that there's multiplayer, so you can join in with your friends, I assume. But I don't know if it's sort of a Fallout 76, where you're placed in a world with dozens of other ships, and you just kind of come across each other.
Hopefully it's just not a No Man's Sky kind of situation.
That would be no one else in your world.
The chances are very small.
Mm-hmm.
The Indian Ocean is a big ocean, right?
It's true. It might be bigger than the universe.
There you go.
Yeah.
They also showed off some pretty sweet looking ship customization. So they showed different weapons configurations, different holes, I think, different sails, and then whatever goes on the front of your boat. Tristan and I were wondering if that had any actual use. I think it changed like the ramming ability of your ship based on what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a hood ornament. I'm going to call it a hood
there was
ornament.
a ram at the end of the trailer.
There was a ram, exactly. So just kind of going off of the cutscene, we saw a really awesome... You can change your flags to sort of stay under the radar. And then that first boat, Tristan, got absolutely pummeled when it came out of stealth mode. It just instantly died. And then I headed into sort of a 4v1 versus a big Portuguese warship battle. And we got to see a lot of different combat. Along with some allied pirate ships. And at the end, they turned on each other. So that's kind of dumb, but I don't know. What do you guys... We saw a little bit. A lot has changed in terms of what we saw last year and this year.
I still think it's a great idea that we need a really good just shipbuilding / ship combat game where we can just run around, be a pirate, shoot other ships, raid other people. I think that's just a really awesome idea that just hasn't been really fully realized quite yet by a game. And I think this is shaping up to be a lot better than what we saw last year.
First of all, I'm so sorry for doubting this game during the Pack and Lacken special.
Mm-hmm.
After today, I was kind of sold on it. I think this kind of fills the void of what Sea of Thieves wasn't able to do. Although, Sea of Thieves was really aiming a different type of gameplay. This looked insane. I didn't know ships can fire their cannons that fast. Like, is that real? Like, it was a machine cannon. Like...
Portuguese invention, man.
I guess
machine cannon.
But I'm liking all these games that have this kind of emphasis on co-op. I know the three of us really haven't played a game in a long time together, so I'm really excited for all these types of games to come out so we can actually try to cooperate or something.
Yeah, we can try to be friends or something, I guess.
Yeah.
For me, this game feels a lot like World of Warships, but fast-paced and high action.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like a really, really arcadey form of World of Warships or some game kind of like that. And I don't know, again, the pirate kind of motif where you just have cannons and fantastic cannons, like Tristan was saying, where there's like basically machine guns at some point. It's a lot of fun. Just should be stupid fun, I think, when it's a co-op experience like that.
So if World of Warships gets Azure Lane crossovers, are we going to get a One Piece crossover for this game?
I hope so.
With the Pirate King? The true one Pirate King?
Mm-hmm. The Hokage.
Exactly. Just one last thing I want to bring up that I'm not too stoked about this game is when you're boarding the ships, it just does like a cutscene, and you're like, what? Okay. What determines if you win that or not, right?
Yeah. That is one of the lame things. I hope we get more of that feature fleshed out to where it's a natural, like, maybe it turns into a kind of different game where it's like an action game or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But the only thing is we saw that in the last year's E3 and we saw it this year again, so are they working on that? Or is it still sort of this
it might not be
progress thing?
A priority to actually do a real ship boarding combat, which kind of disappointing, but maybe they're going to just focus on making the ship-to-ship combat more fun.
Dude, they're working on the ramming physics, okay?
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's very important. If the boat needs to realistically sway and move as you crush them.
Exactly. And we need to get our machine autocannons up and running.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to our next game. They brought it up yesterday once again at the Xbox press conference. They actually might have shown it longer, but we got The Division 2, a bigger deep dive into it. They sort of had a cinematic trailer again at the start. We know again that it takes place in Washington, D.C., and then they gave our favorite sentence that we've been hearing a lot this E3, which is, your actions have impact on the lives of civilians or the lives of whatever.
Yep. Peter Molyneux is the true visionary. He planted the seed and the oak tree eventually grew, and now every game wants that.
Oh, God. And then we got some specializations for the classes now. We had a sharpshooter, demolitionist, and survivalist. And they also announced 8-player co-op raids, along with essentially a year free of content, with 3 episodes that have new story things and new locations and activities to do, and then a release date on March 15th. What are you guys feeling about this game?
Well, I'll tell you right now, I never got Division 1 because I think what I heard at release time was that the game was not so great. But from what I understand, a year later or so, the game is actually pretty fantastic. I've seen plenty of people say positive things, and honestly, watching Division 2, I was pretty impressed by what I was seeing. I thought it looked alright and kind of pretty fun for a co-op experience. The actions have consequences on civilians thing, I think that's a gimmick, and it's kind of stupid, but
it just works.
It just works. I wouldn't focus much on it if I was playing the game, but I probably won't have much choice. But, yeah, I'm pretty excited, but of course it has the silly canned Ubisoft friend playing a video game. I love that.
Yeah, I'll make sure to do that if we play together. Mm-hmm. I'll be like, yeah, you go, Alex, flank around.
Alright, guys, what's our plan? Just charge in?
Where are we dropping, boys?
Where are we dropping?
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I am so excited for this game. I've been getting more and more excited. First of all, thank you, EA, for screwing up loot boxes so much and paid content that literally all the companies are giving their content for free.
It's like a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
No one wants to touch the word loot box or paid content.
I love star cards.
Yeah. No more seasons passes or whatever. Raids seem interesting, but not really sure how that'll work in the Division. The look at the specializations were pretty cool. Gameplay we saw was pretty cool. I just want the game so we can all hop in, and then I can screw up our, missions and raids for the whole group.
Yeah, I'll be curious now that they're doing raids if the classes that they've announced, like the Survivalist, will act like a typical tank class you'd expect in a Trinity-style MMO where it can like handle aggro and things like that. I think that would make it a lot more fun as a co-op game, for me personally, as a raid.
Yeah, rather than just kiting and running around for 40 minutes straight.
Everyone's just running around being a DPS. I don't really enjoy that kind of raid gameplay that a lot of these action games do, but I think they could work with it if they think about it.
Yeah, I never played the first one, but this one's shaping up to be, especially with those fixes. They said in the press conference, if I recall correctly, Tristan, I think they said we learned a lot from the first game.
Oh yeah, they definitely
It's sort of
mentioned that. Yeah,
It's sort of a shaky launch. So just coming right out the gates with having all that experience on their backs, I have a feeling that this one's shaping up to be a pretty strong hit coming March next year, pretty early in the year too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of learning going on this year, huh?
I mean, EA said we learned 2 years ago, last year, they said for Battlefront 2, we learned a lot from the first game.
Mm.
And then this year, we learned a lot this time around too. Alright, so rounding out the Ubisoft, we had sort of their much anticipated title. Thanks again, Walmart, for this one. We had Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Obviously, as we know, takes place in Greece. Got a little more explanation on sort of the time and history we are. So they're in the middle of the Peloponnesian War, which is the war between Sparta and Athens. That's sort of the time period. In terms of the game mechanics that they're focusing on, we saw the first transformation of the series more into an RPG with Origins, and they're moving a heavier focus once again into the RPG mechanics, at least they're trying to. And the first big feature, I think, is you get to choose your character now. So you can choose a male or a female. So the male is Alexios and the female is Cassandra. In the gameplay demo, they were playing Cassandra, but your character is essentially, you wield the sword or the blade of Leonidas, which grants you special melee, ranged, and stealth abilities. And sort of as you go through Greece, you're trying to save one of your loved ones. We don't know who that is yet. And at the same time becoming a Greek hero. And they showed, 6 or 7 minutes of gameplay of sort of riding around a island that you first arrive at. I think it was Mykonos was the island name. And they show you fighting a dude. And then hitting him in his nutsack with a mace. And then taking his helmet. And then leveling up, I think. So they're showing the skill tree again, sort of the RPG mechanics. And then we have our release date of October 5th. Did any of you guys play the last one? I don't think any of us played the last one.
Nope.
Would you play this for a Greek setting, or do you not really care? Because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't too interested in the Egypt setting, which is why I didn't get the last one.
To be honest, I don't know. I feel this fatigue of these types of games coming out. Like, if it's once every 5 years, that's fine. But Assassin's Creed Origins just came out last year, right?
It did.
Yes.
It feels like less than a year ago, I think.
Yeah, they're like pumping these things out, and I'm just like, I don't have time to really absorb all these games. But you know what? I think I would definitely take the Greek one over the Egyptian. I feel I like the Greek lore a lot better. And obviously it's the later game, so all the features going to be more polished. So might as well try the better one of the two, quote unquote.
As someone who hasn't played Assassin's Creed in a while, what's going on with the whole like Knights Templar stuff?
The
like
canon?
That? Like I haven't seen anything in any of the trailers regarding that. What's going on with that?
I feel like they just threw all that out the window. Do they even care at this point?
I don't know, man. I saw the movie. That's about it.
Yeah, the Greek setting doesn't really do a whole lot for me. I mean, I played, what was that? Assassin's Creed Brotherhood way back in the day. That was Rome, which basically advanced Greeks. Cooler Greeks, but,
Cooler Greeks.
Mm-hmm.
Greeks 2.0.
Yeah, Greeks 2.0.
Now with newly named gods, which are actually the same gods and goddesses.
Mm-hmm. Just with cooler names. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if the RPG stuff turns out to be cool enough, but as I'm imagining it, it's probably just kind of your general action RPG style skill trees, and it won't be that interesting in reality. It'll just be like you can now perform your double stealth kill that you've been able to do in every other game, and things like that.
I think a lot of the reason people praise the last one is it went from this sort of action RPG combat that it is in the new Assassin's Creeds, as opposed to the counter attack from the originals.
They definitely needed to change that. Yeah, there was basically no point to never not counter attack in the earlier games.
Let's roll on to the sort of smaller mentions that we don't really have a lot to talk about from the Ubisoft press conference. So we had Trials Rising, which was a crazy guy running out on the stage and destroying a podium. That was weird.
Yep.
We had an opening of Just Dance 2019, which was weird. Again. But I talked with Tristan about it, and I thought it was a smart idea to put at the start, because it's really hard to transition out of a game into Just Dance, and then the game that follows up Just Dance, it's really hard to sort of shift in tone.
I mean, it's a free win. Whatever comes after Just Dance. It's a free pass. Best game ever.
Mm-hmm.
Best game ever. We got some live on-stage performance from Grant Kirkhope of the Mario Cross Rabbids Donkey Kong Adventure DLC, which was pretty cool to see. And then we got Elijah Wood coming out, talking about it's a psychological horror, right?
Yep.
Yep, there's psychological horror, VR, it'll be a non-VR too, but Transference game, which had this crazy looking guy being like, 'cause I did it for you, Jimmy. I did it for you, or something like that. Pretty freaky stuff. Anyhow, the last amazing thing, which we don't have a lot to talk about because they didn't talk about it much, was Starlink Battle for Atlas. And we had a Star Fox crossover for the Nintendo Switch version, followed by Miyamoto coming out on stage. Again, 2 years in a row at Ubisoft.
Best buds at this point.
Tristan, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Where did Miyamoto go?
I don't know. After they showed Starlink and they gave him the R-Wing, the presenter was like, come on to the back so you can play the demo, and then we never saw him again. I'm serious. I'm not even joking.
Put in the Amber Alert. We have a middle-aged Japanese man taken away from us.
There goes the Direct tomorrow, I guess. Direct canceled.
It's okay. No, we got Sakurai. It's fine. We're good. All right. Let's roll into our final press conference. Oh no, let's not roll. Let's grade first. How about that?
Yeah, I like that.
Let's grade.
I like the sound of that.
Tristan. Yes, sir.
Give me your hot take, your hot grade. No Aisha Tyler again.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Broke my heart. Eurogamer, you broke my heart. Eurogamer was they tweeted because they're actually at the press conference and they tweeted she's back, and I got really excited, but she wasn't.
Burlwood.
How'd they do, man? How'd they do? Give me a letter grade.
Let's go with a C. The highs were very high. Beyond Good and Evil, they got a lot of stuff out. Division, they got a lot of stuff out. Skull and Bones was amazing. But at the same and Star Fox was pretty fun. Seeing Miyamoto smile and like almost cry is always a good event. But all the filler stuff in between was kind of unneeded, dragged on. Trials Rising especially. Poor 3 members of Ubisoft team that had to clean up the broken podium for about 5 minutes while everyone watched. So, I feel like they brought a lot of good stuff, but there was a lot of unnecessary things that could have been trimmed. So there we go. C.
I think I'm going to give them a solid B-. I think Ubisoft, despite not having Aisha Tyler, brought a lot of good things to the table. They showed us a lot of the things we wanted to see. Beyond Good and Evil 2, Skull and Bones, massively revamped and a lot more polished than we saw last time. And, of course, Division 2, which is shaping up to be a pretty great sequel. Of course, they had to throw in their other genres, kind of like EA always has to do with their sports games. You have Just Dance and things like that. But overall, I think it gave people what they wanted to see, and I liked what I saw. B-.
I'm going a solid B. Man, Tristan, you're pretty harsh on that. I thought they gave us a lot of what we wanted. There were some good surprises in there. If we were doing numbers, I would say this is a 7 or 8 out of 10, a solid B. I try to think of, there are some, obviously those, Alex said, some franchise that they have to bring in, which obviously brings down the score, unfortunately, a little. But there are people who like those games, so I can't hate on it too much. We're gonna get attacked by Just Dance fans, guys.
Mm-hmm. Very angry interpretive dance.
Yeah, and they kind of kept the same format last year, which I really like, where you show a trailer, you bring out the dev to talk for a minute or two, and then you show another trailer, and then they go more in depth onto the mechanics.
Yep, and I love to see that when I have a conference.
Yep. Exactly, and they did that for almost every game, which is why we have a lot of details on sort of their big hits that are coming out. So I thought they did a solid job.
I don't know. I feel like what they try to do is put the big ones in between the small ones, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it felt like the small ones really just stopped the momentum, and I got really bored. And all the big ones, I feel there weren't enough information, like, BGE2, we have no idea when that's going to come out, obviously. Skull and Bones 2019, not too sure. And then, like, random stuff like The Crew, which is coming out this month. I don't know why they have to spend time showing it. So that's mostly why I gave it a C.
Yeah, I can see you giving a C. I'm just, different in opinions, right?
Just one note, our Twitter friends, they had 4 choices. They had amazing, good, meh, or bad. And the majority gave it a good. So I think they're in line with what you two said.
Yeah.
What do you have a stat on the Square Enix one?
I was so angry at that conference that I forgot to put up a poll.
Alright, we're gonna assume that they would say bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, viewers. If you disagree, go tweet at us. Tell us you loved it. So, to close out the day, we had second of the big 3. We had Sony coming up. This was an interesting press conference because we knew from the beginning, they announced last month, sort of the style of the press conference, deep dives into the 4 big games. And, well, I will say they deep dove and they gave us some surprises too. So we'll just kind of go in order. We had The Last of Us Part 2 starting out with essentially just a long, I don't know what to call it. I want to say cutscene, but it was a cutscene with gameplay in it. It was a little confusing to find out I guess I'll backtrack a bit. It was essentially Ellie in a church, flashback to her just murdering a bunch of people, pretty much. I would assume that they're bad people. I mean, they hung a guy, they stabbed him, and they pulled out his intestines as he was hanging. So these aren't good dudes that she was killing. Definitely probably deserved it. But I was a little confused in the gameplay on what was scripted and what was actual gameplay mechanics. Like, some of those animations seemed a little, alright, this is scripted in here or whatever. What did you guys think?
No, I definitely felt the same way when she was fighting certain enemies. It was like something I would expect from Detroit Become Human, where you're just kind of pushing buttons at the right time. But I think maybe it's just specific mechanics for certain enemy types is what's happening. You interact with certain enemy types in a specific way, but it's a little hard to tell given the demo that they showed us. I thought that the weird church scene was really drawn out. I guess maybe for people who care more about the story, it means more to them, but you know how it is.
What do you guys think? Or I'll let Tristan talk first. What did you think about the trailer?
Trailer kind of showed who was a real Last of Us fan or not. Twitter was going crazy saying, is Ellie a lesbian, ? But if you played the first game, you fully know she's a lesbian, so they got exposed. But after that, the gameplay part, 2 things. First, it looked amazing.
It did.
And definitely
looked as in visually, or the gameplay looked amazing, or both?
Both. They both looked amazing. Like you guys said, it's really hard to tell what was contextual actions and what kind of happened on its own and what you can do. I know in the first game, like Alex mentioned, for certain enemies, there were very specific kill animations that you can do. But this kind of seemed to be all over the place. Second, I don't know if it's just me, but I felt like it was extremely violent. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but man, that was gruesome.
Oh yeah, she was just slitting throats and everything. It was crazy what she was doing to some of these guys.
And when that lady just peeks her head okay, wait, before I say the lady who peeked her head down, she blew up a guy. And sorry for the swearing, but she blew up a guy. She crafted an explosive arrow and literally blew up a guy.
Mm-hmm. He just turned into pink mist.
Pink mist. If I were those people who were friends with that guy, I would just run. I'd be like, this girl crazy. Get out of here. So what did you guys think of the venue? That was a little weird. I'm talking about the venue of the actual press conference.
I think that might actually be the biggest blunder of E3 so far. It just makes zero sense to me as a spectator. Maybe it meant more in person, maybe it's cooler, but I think it was extremely pointless. They were basically...
Banjo?
Oh yeah, there was the Banjo too, that just played a song for like 2 or 3 minutes before showing the trailer, but they were all like packed into this small tent that was fashioned as a church, obviously tying into the scene that they're showing for Last of Us 2. And then immediately after the trailer, they filed everybody out to go to the actual Sony conference. And while they did that, we would just kind of listen to random stuff being said by commentators.
Yeah, and speaking of, I mean, I think we've expressed our feelings of Last of Us Part 2 and moving to the next venue. The first game to open us up at the new venue was Ghost of Tsushima.
Well, first they hit us with a badass bamboo flute solo.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you have to summon the ghost first.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was going crazy. That guy impressed me. The banjo was like, alright, this is cool. The panpipe flute guy was... Holy moly. He was... No words.
Yeah, he's going ham. But yeah, so Ghost of Tsushima, we got to see actually quite a lot of gameplay and I guess some story involvement. It's a very beautiful game. They were going through meadows and things like that. There were nice leaves falling everywhere, going through flowers. It's all very pretty. Then you learn, of course, the Mongol invasion, and it's the day 9 after the invasion.
They're keeping calendar counts. This is Majora's Mask right here, right?
Yeah, I guess maybe we'll be following through this man's life. Maybe we'll be even starting even earlier than what we're seeing today in the demo. Who knows? But yeah, it's overall in the action. It seems kind of like a stealth kill game. I'm not sure what to really equate it to. Maybe like a Batman game.
Yeah, but not so much a Batman game in the fact that I want to describe the new Spider-Man as a Batman game.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I guess it's obviously you have a sword, so it's not the same thing, but it's like, it reminds me of a Witcher game almost.
Yeah, okay.
In terms of the sword combat.
I like that comparison a lot better, yeah. I would say, yeah, it's pretty close to a Witcher game. Or at least visually much more like a Witcher game and kind of its style of combat and things like that.
I like the ability to climb things. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, the character was shown having kind of this grappling hook tool. So you can swing around the battlefield, go around rooftops.
And then there was the... just from the jump kill where you stealth kill the guy, it seems as though you also have the ability, sort of like in Tomb Raider, to do stealthy actions and just instantly kill people. The weird part I thought was the end, honestly. I thought it was going really smoothly and they just wanted to throw this random twist at the end where your partner's like, no, the priest, or not the priest, the monk. He wronged my family. He needs to die. And I'm like, why? No, stop.
Emotions, okay?
Yep.
Emotions.
They learn from the best.
I don't know, Tristan, what did you think of sort of this whole gameplay segment / cutscene? I don't know what it was.
You know my feeling with this game, even before the conference. I haven't even heard about this before. I think we did the pre-3 episode. Even after seeing it today, I wasn't really sold on it. Like, I like movies. It looked like a movie, but I'm not, like, I wasn't excited to play this as a video game.
And you know, I think I'm getting a little fatigued of this kind of stealth kill action game. I don't know. It's just starting to seem pretty common to me, and I'm just getting kind of tired of it.
It's like half stealth, half Dark Souls combat, which, I mean, I'm not really into. Like, pick one, right? Hitman does really great stealth gameplay. It doesn't really bother with the combat part too much. You know, you don't have to put all the gameplay genres in to make a good game.
But Tristan, it's that new... We want to let the player how they want to play the game.
Does it affect the world? Does it affect the Mongols?
If the monk dies, the Mongols lose.
Oh no.
the very first decision you make in the game affects the ending. All right, so we talked about what? We're on two of the big four releases. In between, we got a little surprise, guys. We got some Resident Evil 2 remake coming out early next year, January 25th. This game is 6 months away. Well, 7 months away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually looking pretty sweet. We kind of got a leak before E3 that this game would actually be an over-the-shoulder style game, and that's what it ended up being. But overall, I really liked the new dark visual of the game. It's not too dark where you just can't see anything, but also just combined with the modern era graphics with like water effects on the ground and things like that. The classic Raccoon City game is just looking beautiful to me. I really love the setting that they're doing right now, and just to see those familiar scenes again in a whole new light, I love that. On a second note, I do think Leon Kennedy has a striking resemblance to Zac Efron. I don't know how you guys are feeling.
I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Is Zac Efron blonde? I don't remember.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
He is when he dyes his hair, I think.
He is when he feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
I never played the original Resident Evil 2, so I'm not a huge survival horror guy, but this, I've heard so many good things about it, I might have to pick this one up.
Yeah, definitely. Resident Evil 2 is just a classic when it comes to the horror genre, and yeah, this game just looks like a great, faithful recreation of it so far.
Tristan, give me your thoughts.
Oh, man. So, out of the two main male protagonists in Resident Evil, I love Leon Kennedy a lot more than Chris Redfield. I think Chris Redfield is really boring. And then, like, in the later games, he just becomes the anti-Terminator of zombies.
Like, what does that mean?
He's a good guy, so he can't be the Terminator, so he's the anti-Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought you meant, like, he just dies to zombies.
He basically becomes a space marine in Resident Evil 5, but then he slims down by Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, look at his arms in Resi 5. It's like, it's bigger than his head. And then in Resi 7, Chris Redfield comes back again, and he's like a marine, but I guess that's what STARS members are, so that's fine. Overall, I think Leon Kennedy, especially in Resi 2, the whole story is very cool. I love the new non-fixed camera gameplay that they're bringing in, so I'm down to play this.
All right, could this be a game that all three of us play? We will see.
Is there co-op? Can we all be Leon at the same time?
Who knows? They might bring back a mercenaries mode. I'd be for it.
All right. The next one. He didn't show himself. We did not see... There was no Kojima sighting. But there was a Death Stranding sighting. And guys, it's here. We got gameplay. We're a delivery man.
Yep, it is sure thrilling. You can go up slopes, you can climb ropes, you can fall in a river, you can
make ladder bridges.
Yeah, you can walk across a chasm. It's insane. But
so we also got a name where our name is Sam. The main character's name is Sam. Mm-hmm. It seems though the express company he works for is called Fragile. And then we got some interesting information, just little tidbits from a additional character that was revealed, where they said if you touch those monsters, time fast forwards on whatever it touches. So I guess not if you touch, but whatever the monster touches, time is fast forward. And we saw that when it touched the ground, plants grew out of the ground. And then there was a quote I took where there's some bug thing, and she said eating this bug thing keeps the quote unquote time fall away. Whatever time fall is. What do you guys think? Give me just raw impressions.
I still don't know what they're doing with this game. We just watched a man play Delivery Boy. I don't know. There's these
Tristan, go.
weird
just hop in here.
Weird monsters you can't see unless you got your baby powering a light.
Are you listening to yourself, Albert? We're getting excited over a name, Sam. We're two names actually, Fragile Express. We're getting excited about a monster we can't see, two actresses, and walking videos. if this was not Kojima, everyone would be throwing this in the garbage. Like,
what if we find out the game is sponsored by UPS?
I like it.
But to be objective or subjective, since this is Kojima, I'm still not sold. Like, this is still the first 3 hours of Phantom Pain when you're crawling in the hospital. That's all we saw today.
Practically.
Like, where's Guillermo? Where'd he go? He had the baby in the first trailer. Now Norman has the baby. What's going on? Wait, is Norman younger Guillermo del Toro?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
We just blew it wide open. But who's Mads then?
Is Norman Reedus Guillermo del Toro's son?
Oh my... Is he the baby in Guillermo del Toro's baby?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm still skeptical of this game. Obviously, we didn't get a date today. We did get 2 actresses' names, so maybe they'll drop us some hints. But I'm being cautious.
Yeah.
I think this is just a sneak peek of some of the game. If this is the whole game, good lord, what have we gotten ourselves into?
To be fair, we did see at like basically the very end of the trailer before the name drop again of Death Stranding. Sam did pull out what looked like some sort of rifle or gun, so maybe we can at least expect some sort of shooting segment. We're not just going to be delivering packages all game.
All right. So those are the big highlights, and you might be asking yourself, but Viewport, there were 4 big reveals at Sony's press conference, and to that I say yes. But one of them unanimously was decided by all of us that we don't really care about it. And you might say, but Viewport, I love Spider-Man. And to that I say, we don't really care.
I've learned so much about Spider-Man while doing the write-up today. Because I had to look up all those villain names. So,
yeah,
I can explain it if you want, and we can jump over it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
you got it.
Today we saw Spider-Man go to the Raft, which is a prison for supervillains. Arkham Asylum in the Spider-Verse. Electro, the villain that we saw at the beginning, let everyone out. So Vulture came out, Rhino came out, and then like Mr. Negative showed up somewhere. I don't know why.
Was that Mr. Game & Watch?
Yeah, that's Mr. Game & Watch.
Okay.
And I think there was one more, but I forget. I think they're part...
Scorpion, right?
Oh, Scorpion. They're part of the Sinister Six, so that's who you'll be fighting, because I'm not going to play the game.
Wait, who's the 6th person?
Wasn't
that 5?
Spider-Man? I
Rhino.
don't know.
Rhino.
I think I already said Rhino.
Oh.
No, there were only 5 villains in the trailer, so I don't know what's going on. Somebody says Sinister Six on Reddit. So
in Spider-Man lore, is there a consistent Sinister Six?
No, it's all over the place.
Alright, so I'm sorry if we're not too hyped on Spider-Man. I know a lot of people are hyped on Spider-Man. Don't hate us. We're just not too much into it. Other little mentions, we got a game called Control, which is... what? Psychic powers up the wazoo, man.
Which we thought was Death Stranding at first.
Yeah, it had a lot of similar visuals to a Kojima-style game, but there was way too much gameplay to ever be a Kojima title.
What if that was the gameplay for Death Stranding, and then Control was package delivery?
Wait, yeah, what? The Phantom Pain wasn't a Kojima game initially, right? This could be
a Moby Dick game.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Wow,
The truth is out.
He's got us again.
Check a look on that.
Mm-hmm.
Check a look. We need a press conference grade for Sony, guys. You guys need some time to think, or are you ready to roll? I'll let whoever... I picked on you guys one each earlier, so I'll just let whoever wants to go first now do it.
So, I think I'm gonna give it a B... No, C+. C+. I was thinking between B minus or C+, but C+ it is. Just because... Oh god, the timing was awful for the first half. What was up with that? And then I feel like even the big ones we didn't get too much out of. Last of Us 2, yes, we got some good gameplay, but it wasn't that much, like no date. Ghost of Tsushima, like I said, I don't really care about, so I'll skip over that one. Death Stranding, like I said before, we were getting excited about literally the smallest things on Earth, and Spider-Man's coming out in a few months anyways. So overall, I don't think there was anything new that they were really announcing for like the long-term future. The timing was awful. The venue was weird. So C+.
Yeah, I have to go with a C-. The double venue thing, just complete garbage. It was completely pointless. I hated it. It just completely threw off any kind of pacing they had, and it really just ruined it for me, the entire conference. Again, this was a conference where they just kind of showed trailers. Albeit they were long and they gave you a lot of gameplay and some story cutscenes, but I always just love hearing the directors or producers actually talk about their game, and this was a conference where they didn't do that, so we just didn't really hear anything in terms of what kind of thoughts went into the game when PlayStation or Sony was kind of advertising this event as a deep dive into these games where we're going to hear about these creators' creative visions, and we just didn't see that.
All right, I'm going to be a little nicer than these guys. I'm giving this one a B-. I thought it was still... I agree with the venue decisions. I agree with all the timing things. But in the long run, E3 is all about the games, and I'm weighing those a little higher. And although Spider-Man didn't hit as much for me, and we didn't see a lot out of Death Stranding, I still think that in the long run, these games are going to be pretty good. So I'm sort of going off the opposite. It's kind of a weird thing where I graded Microsoft down a little, and I want to boost them back up to an A- after seeing all these other press conferences, just comparatively. But I graded them down because they didn't have strong first-party showing. Sony had very good first-party showing, but it lacked a little in the third party. I mean, they had great Resident Evil 2 and Control and Neo, but I wanted to see a little bit more. They also had that weird Adult Swim games, not Adult Swim games, but the Rick and Morty people games, Squanch games, whatever. But I agree with Alex. I would have liked them. I would have loved to have a dev come on stage. And sometimes they do those sort of, hey, I'm doing this in the game right now. In the full game, this is what happens. And they explain the concept. I think they wanted to go for that cinematic feel where it's, hey, just 14 minutes, whatever, over 10 minutes of just straight gameplay. We're not going to say anything. We're not going to do it. I feel that works a little, but when you're trying to explain a game like Death Stranding or The Last of Us 2, and we're confused on, hey, is this actual gameplay or not, having that dev step in there will be a great remedy in sort of clarifying how the game actually is going to play like. Especially with Ghost of Tsushima also was a huge, like, what actually goes on in this game sort of thing. So, yeah. I like the attempt. I think they could have done it for maybe one or two of the games, but for all four, I think it was a little too much.
Yeah, they just need to follow in the words of Devolver Digital and have the guy pretending to play a video game on stage.
Exactly.
I think I'd feel much more immersed that way.
So, Twitterverse went with the meh on the Sony.
That's how I feel.
We're looking like a 6 or 7 out of 10 in that area. So, C+, B-, maybe C-. All right. Guys, guess what? That wraps it up. We made it through the day. It was a long, long day of press conferences, but that wraps it up for day 3. We'll be back tomorrow for the last day of E3 press conferences with the big N, Nintendo. We already know some stuff that they're coming out, but we'll have to see if they have any secrets up their sleeve. You can check out a highlights article on our website, viewportgaming.com. We're also live tweeting all of the conferences, as Tristan has been saying, and you can catch us at Viewport Gaming on Twitter. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow for the last day of E3. Well, last day of E3 conferences, because E3 technically doesn't even start until tomorrow, but nobody knows. I've been your host today, Albert Corson, and I've been joined by my friends and comrades, Tristan John.
See ya.
And Alex Nestor.
Catch you tomorrow.